Hello everybody, my name is Track394. Today I have for you a very special sugarcane and bamboo farm for Minecraft 1.14.4 and beyond. Now this design is specifically to help reduce lag in your world so that you don't have to encounter a large amount of lag every single time that the farm harvests itself. So other farms you may have seen on YouTube will show you large amounts of sugarcane or bamboo being harvested all at once, and it produces so much lag that it doesn't let you do anything else in the world. Well, the whole idea of this farm is that you can run it in the background while you do other things, and it'll produce very little lag for you, and over time it'll produce a very nice little trickle of bamboo and sugarcane that you can pipe into a storage system where you can just hold in safekeeping for later. The whole idea of this farm, again, is just to be lag friendly, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. So the way this farm works is it uses observers to detect when the sugarcane and bamboo has grown up, and then it'll use pistons to break those items, and then they'll all flow to the very center here. This farm is very efficient because it uses a hopper minecart to collect the items on top of the blocks here, and any items that flow into the water streams get collected with these hoppers into the central collection area here. If you want to go directly to the tutorial, then I'll go ahead and put a number on the screen here, and you can skip to it. Otherwise, I'll continue explaining how the rest of the farm works in more detail for you guys. Alright, so if you want to see how this works, it's actually rather simple. What happens is when a piece of sugarcane grows 3 tall, this observer will detect that block update, and it'll power this block right here. Now this block, because it's diagonal to the piston, will bud power the piston, and it'll tell the piston, hey, I need to be active, but the piston will not push forward or activate itself until it receives another block update while this block is powered. Of course, this block being powered by this observer produces a 1-tick pulse with this redstone line right here. That 1-tick pulse produces the block update needed by the piston, and it'll, of course, push itself forward. So what'll happen here is whenever the item grows up here, that one piston right there will get pushed forward, but these pistons next to it will not, because they're not being powered by redstone. Instead, they're simply receiving a block update. So again, let's see that. As you saw right here, this line of powered minecart rails got activated. You can use these instead of redstone dust if you want to reduce the lag in the world, but again, either will work. But as you can see here, it uses the basic quasi-conductivity power of pistons here to break the blocks. Down here, I'm just using a standard automatic unloading system so that the hopper minecart will constantly bounce back and forth and collect items. And as you just saw there, any items it does collect go into this hopper and will go into this chest. So the hopper minecart will stop itself here whenever it has items. Later on in the video, I'll also show you how to implement a hopper timing system so that you can deploy the hopper minecart whenever you want to as well. Additional sections that you want to add on to the farm will need to be chained together using packed ice so that the items can slip across the surface of the block there. So any items will go in the center here, and they'll go underneath onto this packed ice and slide across into the next section. This is very important that you have packed ice here. You can also use regular ice, but you want to make sure that it does not melt. This is very important, otherwise items from this section that fall into the water will not go into the first section and get collected. And of course, you don't have to chain these sections next to each other like this forever. Eventually, you'll get out so far that the chunks will no longer be loaded. If you want to tile them next to each other, you can do that as well. I'll show you how to do that later in the video, but basically, just take what you see here and put it next to itself, and you can just build in that direction as well. Of course, you will also need to have a separate collection system with a hopper minecart to collect the items, or you can have one hopper minecart that goes around all of those farms collecting all the items. Again, it's up to you, but this is the recommended setup right here. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the tutorial, and I'll go ahead and show you guys how to, the resources you'll need to make this farm, and then of course how to build it for yourself. To make this farm for yourself, you will need 16 dirt, access to water, a redstone comparator, a redstone torch, 17 redstone dust, 16 pistons, 16 observers, 16 rails, 3 powered rails, 2 redstone lamps, 3 hoppers, 5 levers, 1 minecart hopper, and then sugarcane and bamboo, whichever ratio of sugarcane or bamboo you want. And of course, access to a block of your choosing, and I would recommend glass so you can see into the farm. You don't have to use redstone lamps, you can use any block that emits light you want to, but if you do use redstone lamps, you also need levers. These are all the items you will need to make the first section of the farm. Any additional sections that are chained onto the first section of the farm, you will need these additional items. Again, you will need powered rails, 16 dirt, water, 16 pistons, 16 redstone dust, 16 observers, and light sources. And of course, bamboo and sugarcane, and blocks and glass, just like before. But additionally, you'll also need one piece of packed ice and one slab of your choosing. This is so that items in the rear section can flow across the packed ice and the stone brick slab into their first section. Again, I will explain all of these things to you in the future, but just know that you'll need those additional items to chain more sections onto each other, and you can chain as many sections onto each other as you choose. Once you've figured out where you want to put your bamboo and sugarcane farm, go ahead and get out your chests and place them down where you want the corner of the farm to be. So right here next to it's going to be the very corner, and we're going to be building this way, and the hopper minecart's going to go this way, back around, and then back here, and this is where it'll stop and drop off all of its items. Place a hopper pointing into that chest, and then put a powered rail on top of that. Make sure the powered rail is facing this way. If it isn't, you can just place a regular rail or powered rail to point it in this direction. Next, get a comparator and pull the signal from this hopper and send that into a stone brick or any block of your choosing. Place down a redstone torch reading the signal from the comparator into a block, and then reading the signal from that block will be a little dot of redstone dust, and finally a block receiving the signal from the redstone dust and powering the powered minecart rail. Next, you want to go ahead and, starting at this block, start counting out 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once you get to 8, go ahead and wrap back around and then count 8 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then place a block right here, the powered rail. Get yourself a lever of your choosing. Power that powered minecart rail, and then fill in the inside with regular rails as such. When you get to right here, another powered rail, power it, and continue with your rails back to the beginning. And there you go right there. That's how you make yourself the powered minecart rail loop that'll take the hopper minecart back and forth around the farm, collecting all of the drops. Now that the minecart rail has been set up, we can go ahead and plant our crops here. So go ahead and get your dirt and place down one dirt on top of each of these rails right here. You don't need to put dirt on top of the curved rails going around, but you certainly want to put dirt on this side as well. On top of this dirt is where we're going to put our bamboo and sugarcane. Then go ahead and fill in the gap right here with a block of your choosing, and this will prevent the water from washing away our rails. Go ahead and fill in the area around it like this so that none of the drops fall outside of the farm. And then you can do the same thing on this side as well. Before you do that though, you want to get out a hopper, place one here, and place one here. This will collect all of the drops that fall into the water stream and come to the very end here. If you choose, you can also put glass here so you can see the inside of the farm. Now, go ahead and get out your water bucket, place it here, and it should flow all the way to the very end like you see here. Get out your sugarcane and a bamboo, and I would suggest planting 5 sugarcane or 4 sugarcane, you can choose, for every 1 piece of bamboo, because bamboo grows 5 times faster than sugarcane. So if you want roughly an even amount of sugarcane and bamboo, you want to do 5 sugarcane for every 1 bamboo. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 bamboo, and then you can do the same thing over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 bamboo, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if I was to tile this in that direction, I could add 1 more piece of sugarcane and then another bamboo. So for every 5 sugarcane, you want to have roughly 1 bamboo if you want a roughly an equal amount of bamboo to sugarcane. Of course, you can plant the crops however you choose. Next, we want to install the lighting into the farm. So count 4 blocks from this block right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 5th block, place down your redstone lamp or light block of your choosing, and then power it from below like this. And of course you can do the same thing on the other side to make sure that both sides have equal lighting. This is very important, especially if you build the farm underground, because bamboo will not grow unless it has a light level of 9 or greater. Next, place a block of your choosing around the base here. And then you can install a roof if you're doing this out in the open. A roof is not 100% necessary, but if you want to avoid using lighting and you want to do this outside, then you can certainly add some glass here so that you can let natural sunlight come in. So now we have set up the growth chamber for the sugarcane and the bamboo. The next step is to install the detector system that will automatically break the sugarcane and bamboo. The next step is to install the lighting system. So count 4 blocks from the very end here. On the 5th block, place down a redstone lamp or powered block of your choosing. If you're using a redstone lamp, make sure to power it from underneath and not to power the block directly itself, otherwise the piston above this block will get powered. Fill in the rest, and then mirror what you just did on the other side. Next, you want to get out your pistons and place them so that they're facing towards the plants. Once you've placed your pistons, get out your observers and face them towards the plants as well. You want to do this from the other side. Once your pistons and observers are all facing in the inside of the farm towards the plants, go ahead and place a row of blocks at the base of the pistons right here. Do the same thing on the other side. And then place a line of redstone dust on these blocks on both sides. Next, you want to add a layer of bricks or blocks of your choosing, reading the signal from the observers and powering the redstone below them. Now, whenever a block gets updated from, let's say, a plant growing, the piston underneath it will break that block, and you'll get the harvest. Now, if you see any bamboo or sugarcane like this that have already grown to the very top, just go ahead and break that top block there so that the items will get collected. Otherwise, this observer will never get updated. And as you can see, the system is now working. So, this is how you make the sugarcane and bamboo farm. Of course, you can customize it however you want. You can add more or less sugarcane or bamboo as you see fit. I went ahead and destroyed the hopper minecart here, so let's go ahead and add that. And now the system will be fully functioning. And as you can see here, all of the drops have been picked up. Very rarely will you ever find a drop that does not get picked up. The only time that does not happen is if, let's say, a piece of bamboo falls on the very top of the bamboo plant like this. In this case, the hopper minecart can't collect that bamboo because it's too high from the ground. But if this bamboo ever grows, then it'll fall on the ground and it'll get picked up. So very rarely will any items be lost. Any sugarcane that falls on the ground will just fall right through the block, and it'll always get picked up by the hopper minecart. So that's how you make the farm if you want to make one single tile. But if you want to make this farm longer, then tiling the farm is actually fairly easy. So all you have to do this is to get some extra glass if you want. I prefer to put glass in the middle. And then break out these blocks right here and fill them in with glass. It's something I like to do just so I can see the rest of the farm. And then what you want to do is just take everything over here and copy it over here, which I'll show you how to do in just a second. So the first step to expanding this farm, if you want to make it more tileable, is to go ahead and shut off that minecart hopper right there. So go ahead and place a laver here at the block powering the torch, power it off. And when the minecart hopper comes back, it'll just stay here on this unpowered rail, and it'll just wait there until we unflick the lever. And then what we can go ahead and do is go to the very back here and expand this rail so that it'll collect all the items from the second part of the farm. So go ahead and break this block right here. And then what you want to do is you want to count 9 blocks from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Curve back around and then fill in the blocks all the way over here. Now this block right here is not going to have any bamboo or sugarcane on it because we need to have room for items to slip through from the water stream up here and then into here through this block and over there to the hopper. To get that to happen, just break this block and replace it with an upside down half slab. That way that the items can slide underneath that half slab and go over there to the hopper. Of course, items can't slide on normal blocks very well, as you can see, so to encourage them to slide a little bit more, you can just place a piece of packed ice or regular ice, as long as it doesn't melt, right there, and then any items you send through, if I could get it to go inside, will slide on through and over to the end of the hopper over there. Of course, now you want to place down some powered rails right here, and then underneath here on the packed ice right here, you can just place a lever to power them. Once you have done this, you want to go ahead and just put a bunch of rails here to the very end, curve it back around, put a powered rail right there, power it, and curve the rails back around. The next step is to go ahead and place some blocks here in the middle to keep the water from washing away the rails, and then place your dirt on top of these tracks. Fill in the blocks here, and you can go ahead and place your bucket of water. So now you have placed down all of your dirt. Go ahead and get your bamboo and your sugar cane and just plant. Again, you want to do 1 bamboo for every 5 sugar cane. So let's see over here, I've got to get some more sugar cane. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bamboo, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then over here we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bamboo right here, and then fill in the rest of sugar cane. And of course, you don't have to do it perfectly this way, but again, it's up to you. And the next step, of course, is to fill in the blocks here, fill in the blocks here, and then on the 4th block, you can pick up a redstone lamp or lantern of your choosing, and then you can place, actually I would suggest right here, because there's a block right there that's not receiving light from over here, so you want to put 3 in instead this time. 4 blocks around that. You can also power it. Make sure you power it from underneath like this, and then just mirror the same thing on the other side. And of course, if you're going to continue mirroring, you can just place a layer of glass or whatever you want, and then just continue tiling as far as you want in that direction. In this case, I'm done building the farm, so I'm just going to place a layer of blocks here so the items don't fall out of it. And then I can go ahead and get my observers and my pistons, if I can reach them. I'll just start my pistons here. Place down here my row of pistons. Don't forget to power the blocks so that these items, so that the crops get the light that they need to grow. And then of course the observers need to be facing this direction. And then the blocks of the redstone on top of them. And that is how you would tile 2 of these farms next to each other and chain them one after the other as far as you want. And of course, you don't have, if you run out of room in this direction, then you can take this entire design and just put it next to itself right here. And what's cool about this line of redstone is it doesn't actually power the pistons. All it does is provide a block update so that when this observer bud powers the piston, it only powers that one piston that is being bud powered. So if you want to continue to tile this on the other side, then you can have a piston facing this way right here, and then another observer facing this way right here. And then I can put another farm right here. And I can just use that same line of redstone twice to bud power these pistons, which is a really neat trick you can do. And it works every single time, as you can see here. I guess if you don't mind the pistons being bud powered like that, then this piston here being powered, that'll work too. But if you don't want that, then of course you can just put in another line of redstone and another block, another piston facing inwards, and another observer, and then that double piston extension won't happen. Of course, I don't think there's any harm in having both of these pistons fired, but again, the less pistons and block updates occurring, then the less lag that there is. So before wrapping up this video, I'd just like to cover some extra additions that you can do to the farm to make it even more lag friendly. So obviously, if you send the hopper minecart around constantly all the time, it'll create a little bit of lag for the server. So one thing you can do is you can incorporate a timer into the farm here so that the hopper minecart is not constantly bouncing back and forth, but instead will only get triggered once in a long while. the way you can do that is just make a simple 4-minute hopper timer here, and these items, which will be full, this one would be full of items, would flow back and forth between these hoppers, and this system right here would just flip every 5 minutes. Every 4 minutes it would flip, and then this redstone dust right here would get unpowered. That would trigger this sticky piston to create a small pulse, which gets turned into a 4-tick redstone pulse and would pulse this powered minecart rail right here through this block, as you can see here, and send it off. So the hopper minecart would only get sent every 4 minutes, which is plenty of time, because that's roughly how long it takes for an item to despawn in Minecraft, or it's earlier than the amount of time it would take. So you'd collect all of your items and none of them would despawn, and it just saves just the amount of lag that happens in the world. Another thing you can do to reduce lag is to get out powered minecart rails like this and replace this line of redstone dust with these powered minecart rails. The reason why this works is because the powered minecart rail produces a block update but does not produce a redstone update when it gets powered by this observer right here, and of course that'll trigger the butted piston to extend. Now this will reduce lag a little bit, but it's also very expensive because you have to pay 6 gold for every 3 or 4 powered minecart rails. So if you got lots of gold laying around, you can go ahead and do that. That'll reduce the lag just a little bit and help out with your farm. And as you can see here, it'll still work. So everything here will kind of help with the lag in your world. But anyways, without further ado, I really appreciate you guys watching this video all the way to the very end. If you really like this video, consider liking and leaving a positive comment in the comment section. And of course, if there was something you didn't like about the video, I'm always open to constructive criticism, so make sure you leave that in the comment section as well. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section as well. I'm not going to answer all of them, but I certainly will try my best to answer any questions you guys may have. And yeah, if you guys really like this video, then maybe even consider subscribing to my channel. I have a Let's Play series that I do that you guys might enjoy watching. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching this video, and take it easy, everybody.